Welcome to Inside New York. We are proud to present a pre-election day special with our returning guest, our special elections day expert, who's right here in New York. She's been a civil rights activist for over 30 years, and she's president of the NAACP New York State Conference. We welcome back on Inside New York, Hazel Dukes.
Thank you so much, Joan.
You know, it couldn't have been a better time. I was thinking every day that there was an occurrence leading up to the election, but we are actually recording today at the culmination, at least, of the arrest of the perpetrator of the pipe bombs that have been sent out to our top Democratic leaders and presidents from across the country. We don't know the name of that individual at the time of this airing. I'm sure that will be released, but I couldn't imagine a better time to be talking about the importance of this upcoming midterm election than now, right on the heels of this horrific terrorist attack.
Joan, thank you so much. You're absolutely right. This is so crucial that just not only the bombing, but all the things that's been going on, the nomination of the Supreme Court. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. And I believe what it was to discourage voters. They were looking at polls. They were seeing the enthusiasm of people registering to vote. That's why we have the candidate and the secretary in Georgia. That's why we see what's going on in Dakota. That's what we see going on all over the country. They are afraid of the momentum that people are not sending out bombs, but we are using our intelligence. We are saying we must save this country. We must save the democracy that this country was founded on. And so people have not used insulting language to other people. They've just been going to the poll. They're using the real weapon, the ballot. And so that's why I'm excited that all of this nonsense of going out to rallies, screaming, lock them up, and calling people names is not deterring people. People are saying we're not going, as Michelle Obama, we remember when they go low, we go high. And so we're going high by going to the polls.
That's right.
So we're going to take our soul to the poll because this is really the soul of America. It's just not for Black America. It's not for white America. It's not for Jewish America. It's not for Native America. It's for America, this country that has afforded opportunities for all the people that is here, regardless to race, creed, color, or gender.
Right.
This is a welcoming place. That's what it was founded on. Oh, we know the story of what happened to the Pilgrims. We know about the Indians. We know that Columbus didn't discover America. But we have made strides.
Right.
We made strides. And so when we see this kind of hatred that is happening, this is take us back to George Wallace. It take us back to the living legend, John Lewis being beaten on the bridge to Selma. All of this is to discourage us, but you know what? I hear the elders, I hear our ancestors telling us this is nothing, just we gotta keep going. And so when I wake up and hear and see and have the spirit of those ancestors covering me, I said, nothing is going to deter me. And so every day I've been out into our communities, encouraging people, sounding the alarm, as I did, as you remember, when I walked in to tell you that I sound the alarm to say, look, guys, the Supreme Court is what we got to save. Try to tell them before, but lesson learned. And I think that I don't have to encourage them now. They see it. The seniors understand that their Medicaid, their pension, these people gave wealthy people a tax break. And now They want to go after all of the social, they call them social programs. They're not social programs.
Yes.
They are what people have worked for. The people who scrubbed floors, the people who did the manual work. Now they're retired. Shouldn't they be able, under this Constitution, to live like decent human beings, not eating a half of a sandwich at lunch and the next for their dinner?
Yes, well, you know, it has been said, I think widely, that this midterm election is the vote for the future of America.
Absolutely.
And everyone, I mean, it is actually on both sides. I hate to use that expression because it's been misused, but there are people who wish to change what America stood for. They don't want this to be a democracy. They don't want to have the majority rule. And I believe they see that the complexion, we have to
absolutely.
talk about race, is changing.
Absolutely.
And that's why there's such a pushback about the caravan of immigrants or immigrants coming to this country, even though it was founded on immigrants and slaves.
It still is.
Exactly.
It still is.
But it's a certain color immigrant that they don't want.
Absolutely.
And that this is why
it's frightening
been
to
a
them.
focus. It's
right.
a focus.
But you know what? I think that what we have to do, we have to not be distracted.
Yes.
We have to keep our eyes on the prize.
Yes.
And the prize is that we get people who are humane, who are sane, to understand that all human beings, regardless to race, creed, color, or gender, should have the equal protection under the law and should be treated as human beings, not as some outcast where we don't have respect for each other, that we call people out of their names. I mean, this is the worst that I have ever seen since I have been an adult. I have never, absolutely, people disagree. That's why we have parties. That's why we have people who, even beside the two major parties, Democrat and Republican, we have the Working Party family, we have the Environmental Party, we have the Green Party, because they all have issues. But I've never seen anybody go so low that these persons was not able to express their opinion unless they were called, that they were fake, they were crazy, all kind of things. But you know what? I've been told that you can call names, but they don't hurt.
Exactly. We all grew up with that expression.
Absolutely.
Some people, unfortunately, the White House don't seem to realize
understand that, right.
And as you said, there's always been, I mean, I thought about, unfortunately, as you had tried to inform and inspire people of the importance of the vote for 2016.
Right.
And I remember sitting here and you saying that this election was more important than even the election for Barack Obama in 2012. And I felt perplexed by that. But you said so pointedly
about the Supreme Court.
The Supreme Court.
Absolutely.
That three Supreme Court
we could lose three
positions.
Absolutely.
And of course, we at that time were all focusing on that one that we lost.
Right.
But I had no idea
that
it could be two others. And at this point, 2 years in, if he's not impeached, which will not happen if we don't take over the Senate, that he could actually have even two more.
And not only the Supreme Court,
but they're the other
the
courts.
federal courts.
Yes.
He is stacking them up across the country.
It's shocking. I mean,
no one has paid much attention to those because everything was at the Supreme Court. But look at the federal level.
Yes.
Look at all those appointments he's done already.
Right.
Every one of those persons have been people with conservative ideas taking his lead on what this country should be. So we must go out. The hashtag for NAACP nationally, our national president, Derek Johnson, have said, this election, our lives depend upon it.
Yes.
Our lives depend upon it. It's no other way to say it, and that is not to frighten people. It is to tell them that your life, the life that you thought you could enjoy when you retired, you worked hard, you put your money in 401k. Look at the stock market.
Oh, my goodness, yes. He was bragging about the stock market,
And now it's
which Barack Obama, only through his economic recovery, allowed the stock market to grow.
And did you hear the fact checks? He lied about the employment.
And at this point, just so that people know, if they weren't aware, at this point, all of the earnings, which is almost entire year of 2018, have been lost in the stock market specifically because of the president's trade positions and total financial mismanagement.
With his friends.
Yes.
That cut he gave to the rich.
And that's not helping either, because
that's why the budget.
Right, exactly.
Okay. The budget.
That's economics. Right.
That's economics. That he said he's a businessman, but when you peel back the onion about his business, you can see he was a fraud.
No, we don't. He's already being investigated.
I know, but we can look at it.
Yes.
I think he
didn't pay taxes. He doesn't believe in
paying taxes. He's never had.
How are you a patriot?
Right.
How can you even? He calls himself now a nationalist.
Right.
And people are deceived by that because they think that means you're for the nation.
Of course.
But that's not what nationalism means. They don't recognize.
Not for his group.
It's white nationalism. He didn't put the white in front,
but just used the word.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And this is.
And he said it with a smirk.
Yes, it was another dog whistle.
Right.
So he's for the rich, and he's for a certain ethnic population.
And he's for continue with corruption, if you will.
Right. And Russia, we haven't gotten to, but I think, we're New Yorkers. We're pretty savvy. We know a con when we see one. And, it didn't take 2 years for I think, either one to figure out why in the world, when he had such a foul mouth about everybody else, that he constantly praises Russia, and Putin.
And look at the journalist that was beheaded.
I tell you, every day there's so much.
Was that sick?
But someone as a journalist.
And the person of the free world, the person who is the leader of the free world, could not condemn that.
Right.
Could not condemn. Not one word of condemnation.
Exactly.
How dare you?
Exactly. And this is a person who was working in our interest, risking his life, working with an American, formidable newspaper around the world and providing us with such valuable information. And he's now made an example of through those horrific terroristic actions.
Absolutely.
Yes, and it's still out for we're waiting. We're still waiting. And with no condemnation. Before he can finish even a sentence, he's talking about jobs in the same breath and making up that there are contracts which don't exist. And as though, why? As though that justifies this horrific, even if it did exist.
Right.
We as Americans are known in the world to not condone terrorism of any form.
We don't.
And definitely not to reward them, reward whoever it is.
And said they're a great people.
Of course. So
then our people at the same time.
Right, who are also guilty of terrorist actions.
Look at the hurricanes.
Well, I hope that everybody, because this show is going to air around the country on the NAACP's website, and
we have to take our souls to the polls. We have to take our souls to the polls. No doubt about it. If they stood in line in South Africa.
Yes. And then, of course, in the 60s, when we didn't have the right to vote, like John Lewis risked his life, as many others.
Evans was killed.
Exactly.
In educating and getting people to vote. Now, yes, we have voter suppression. And yes, with the bombs, we don't know. There are mental ill people. They go to these rallies and get all revved up.
Absolutely.
With rhetoric.
Right.
radical,
With hostile
so,
hatred.
hatred.
Yes.
And so we don't know where it is, but you know what? I believe that this election is so important to America that even if we have to die for it, if some of us have to, maybe that's what we need to save it.
Well, it's just, who would think that in 2018 we'd be going through the same type of scare tactics that were perpetrated against the African Americans specifically in the 60s who wanted to vote.
Absolutely.
Who would think that, especially after Barack Obama, that our whole state of being would
and trying to be destroyed.
Exactly.
Be destroyed. Look at
American
Georgia.
rights.
Look at Georgia. The seniors on a bus to go and vote, and we stopped them from going to vote.
To be
they
specific,
stopped them. They got a call that they were coming. They were happy. They were jubilant, getting on that bus, going to vote for their lives, because their lives depend on it.
And I hope that this makes it so crystal clear for those who may have in the prior election might have felt, it
my
doesn't
vote
matter. Exactly.
Yeah, my vote don't count.
They're both two parties, and they're
I hope
I think I want to clarify. They're trying to take away your vote. They're doing everything possible. In Georgia, they had purged 107,000 voters from the rolls. Okay, and this has been going on. It's just now
coming
it's under focus. Exactly.
Absolutely.
As well as 53,000 that were pending. But thanks to the work of I believe the NAACP, the Legal Defense Fund,
the ACLU, all the civil rights group came together, the Urban League, to say we're not going to stand for this. They went to court. They got a good ruling yesterday.
Yes.
So we're fighting every day.
Right.
And so while we're fighting, we want to encourage those who probably is not as activists as we are, but take your soul to the poll. You can go to the poll. We here in New York, late polls opening, stay there.
Yes.
If the poll is not open at 6, stay there. Record it. Call into the NAACP office, 212-344-7474. Let us know that the poll is not open. Any discrepancies that when you go to the poll, they say your name is not there, you ask for an absentee ballot. You have a right to not walk out of that polling place without casting a vote.
Exactly. They were saying that certainly for individuals, because even though this has been, the law has just changed in Georgia, where these 107,000.
Even the people who did absentee ballot, we're encouraging them now to go to the polls on voting day. Because they're playing games with the absentee ballots now. So in order to make sure that you cast a vote, get out and go. And here in New York, don't leave out of a polling place. Don't leave out. If they give you, we hope to have people at polling places that they can talk to. We might not be able to fill all of them, but if they give you any slack about you can't vote, don't walk out there. Demand. They will have the absentee ballots there. They will have the other ballots there. You vote before you walk out, and then let us do the rest.
Right. And these days, everybody has a cell phone. So, anything that is done that is not correct, you just record or take down their information. But a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
And certainly the audio, if you can't do, sometimes you can't show it. Just turn you know how to turn on your phone.
Oh, we know how to record.
And record. Exactly that.
But here in New York, we have to be careful also. There is on our after you vote, the ballot, you have to turn it over. There's the charter, the charter commissioner that the mayor appointed came back. Hearings was held, but limited hearings. Wasn't enough input from the community. And so the NAACP, after looking at it, we've taken a position to say vote no on the charter revision. And the three things there's a proposition about civic engagement, campaign finance. Campaign finance, we got a good record of campaign finance. Civic engagement, people are appointed to community boards and other boards. Why would you have a term limit? Each time a borough president or city council member is elected, they have a right to place their people. But with gentrification going on in our boroughs, especially in Harlem and in Brooklyn and the Bronx, we need people who are expert at land use, that understand we're not putting time limit on developers.
Okay. All right, so
you can build as much as you want to. Come in and displace people all you want to. So we need people to be there to hold them accountable. Community people. That's who sit on community boards. They are people who live in a community that understand their community, that understand the plight of the people who live there.
Yes. So if you...
And it's confusing.
Right.
It's confusing. I mean, to tell me that I got to turn a ballot over before I can vote, why everything is not on the same sheet
right,
that
exactly.
you have.
And they've been running, maybe you've seen some of these commercials.
Oh, yeah,
where,
by vote about the charter?
No, about turn over
the ballot. Right.
And then we had that the last time, I believe.
But this is too important.
But this is the first time for midterms, I think, that we have it on the back as well. So, yes, don't rush out without turning over your ballot
after you vote for
these propositions.
When you vote for the elected officials, which will be the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, controller, and then your assembly persons that represent you. No city council people this year. It's state.
Yes.
Right, state. And so we have to remember, yes, you're going to vote for who you want for governor and for the lieutenant governor and for the attorney general and the controller, good. But turn that ballot over because it affects you, especially the people in the 5 boroughs in New York City.
Yes, absolutely. And you need to vote, obviously, for the Congress people.
Absolutely.
Because we are trying to, we don't want to say what's expected because we know what we expected in 2016.
Right.
So don't go by, even though we've heard about the blue wave and we've had a lot of accomplishments all along the way. Do not take this election for granted. Every vote counts.
Every vote.
Not only go and vote, but bring 5 people with you.
You got it.
And if you have time before, because this is airing before, you can also call the NAACP because I'm sure they have a get out the vote.
Absolutely.
We've
been working. Absolutely. We've been working with from the national office. We've had webinars. We have all the Panhellenic and civil rights groups. We have the links. We have all the fraternities and sororities working with us. We're all in Urban League, NAN, Reverend Sharpton. We're all on the same wavelength. We understand our lives depend on this. So no, not only take your soul to the poll, but take 5 others with you.
And volunteer. I myself personally, I will state that because I was so concerned about what was going on with the voter suppression in Georgia particularly, although as we mentioned, it's Georgia, it's Kansas, it's North Dakota.
It's all over the country.
Every day it's another place that you hear about. And I've also cautioned people that they're even, I get so kind of upset about this, they're even resorting to printing out the wrong election date.
Oh, absolutely.
So please jot this down. It is Tuesday, November 6th.
Absolutely.
No question
about it.
Don't get any literature.
Not only are they doing that, I watched one of the Republicans who voted that we should gut Obamacare, affordable health care.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's saying, I'm for
pre-existing.
What lies?
They're all now,
telling lies
right.
because they see that they're going to lose.
Yes.
Because people, when you look at the polling is done, health care is number one.
Exactly.
Because health is wealth. Because when you have your health, you can go out and work. But if you don't have your health, and people got preconditioned.
Right.
People didn't know that they had diabetes. People didn't know.
Right.
And so the insurance now can help them get the proper kind of care they need. And so now they for it. But when they were there and their party was there, they were all together voting because that's what he campaigned on.
Yes.
The 45 said he was going to get rid of Obamacare.
Exactly.
Okay? And they didn't understand it was affordable health care, even those who was following him.
Yes.
And now they want health care.
Right.
They don't care what you call it.
And also, some of those Republican states were turning away any Medicaid assistance.
They filing suits.
That they rather have them without insurance that the government provided.
But now they woke up.
So yes.
And so now, when you look at all the polling that they show, health care is number one. Immigration is down about 5 or 6.
Right.
It's only him using that for his base. 45 is using that for the base of fear that they're coming in, and they'll take over.
Yes.
They're rapists. They're criminals.
And you see this, it's heartbreaking.
It is.
I mean, you see the pictures of these are not criminals. They're mothers with their children, with their babies. They're getting dehydrated.
Right.
Then you talk to them and they say, you're not going to get in. They said they'd rather die than go back. That shows how horrific their circumstances are. And our country was founded on the principle of being able to provide, amnesty and support to those who have been, under hostile.
The other thing that is hypocritical is those who said that they believe in the Bible.
Yes, this is supposed to be the moral majority. That's what they've said all these years. But how moral is that you would turn away?
How can you take food?
Yes, people
from seniors who have given so much. We can stop it on Tuesday, November the 6th, 2018, by going to the polls. All the things that we say won't stop it if we don't go to the polls.
We'll have the extended version of this pre-election day special with Hazel Dukes online on YouTube by going to our social media, Facebook of Inside New York, and also on Twitter at Inside New York TV.